Welcome to T2T number 6 for the fall of the 2014 school year, and today it's highlighted communication but not limited to, and we're trying to share what's happening in our classrooms. I'm with Angie Potts and Megan Hasselbauer. I'm Dean Dahl, and we will be efficient on talking about how we communicate with our parents and with our students. I'm going to share my screen. One tool that I just stumbled on that is so easy, as we've had some strep throat come through our school and students wondering, what did we do today? And I've talked to teachers trying to figure out, how do I post what I write on the either on the whiteboard or put on the screen. And each day when the students come in, I have on my screen projected today what we're doing in Dahl Science. And it's on a Google Doc, and I just go through each day and update it. Well, I just created a link from that Google Doc and put it on my website so students can see exactly what it is. So this is what we did today in science, and I actually had 2 students that were gone today wondering what we did, going through the calendar items, what we did at the beginning of class, what we did at the last part, and the study time. And it's just a nice way for the student to take ownership and to see what it is that we did, and they should have some level of understanding since they're there each day to go through it. So that has helped, and it's really, really, really easy. I also, as we're coming into quiz and test time, I use Google Forms for a retake form, and this is just a basic form that I created going and working along with a document in Autocrat, and it goes to the information, first name, last name, my email, the parent's email, so it sends an email to each, so it's a reminder, and also to help the parents reinforce. This is a tool up here to show the block in which, so I can organize who's doing it, what the retake is, their score they got, when they're planning on retaking it, the date, the room, and how they're going to prepare differently. And then as it sends, I will jump to this is what it looks like as it goes to the parents, and you're being sent this email, so there is a little message that you can build in Autocrat. I'm going to create a screencast of how to do that with Autocrat and how easy it is. But then this document can be opened on any device, and now it takes a personalized message, and I just put my stuff in there. Retake notes for Dean Dahl. Got 45%. My score really stunk. And it says when I'm going to take test number 3 and what I'm going to do differently, and it gives the parents a chance to talk to the student and how they're going to work on it, and of course if there's any questions that they would contact me. And finally, I just love this tool, Remind, and I have it for my A day and my B day class, and I'm just going to send out a remind right now, and it automatically says it's from Mr. Dahl, so I'm going to put in here science update. Chapter 2 closes on Friday. And what's nice about this, right now I've selected my Science A-Day class. I'm going to also add my Science B-Day class because it ends for both of my classes, and I don't want to send it out here at 9:05 because that we don't want that to happen. So I'm going to send it out tomorrow and go down here and set it right after school at 3 p.m. right there, and schedule it and send, and it will send out, and it also logs all of the messages that I've sent down below. So that is a slick way that I communicate, and it works quite slick. Ms. Hasselbauer, how about you?
Well, you have some really good ideas. I love the daily schedule situation that you have. I really am going to be doing that for sure. So mine is, my communication that I do with parents is mainly through my webpage as well. And so on my webpage, I'm totally adding that this is what's happening today, but I have a calendar over here, and I've got a couple of classes that I teach, so I've got an every other day situation happening, but when you click on the class, it tells you kind of what we did in class. But I really like Mr. Dahl's idea of putting a little bit more detail on that PowerPoint. The other thing that I do with classes is if you go into my actual units with students, one of the things that we have been starting the last couple years or few years here with a lot of teachers has been doing video notes. So we do the flipped classroom. So having those accessible to students has been very, very helpful, and it's kind of loading kind of slow here. But what I do is when I make them, they're just under here video notes, and it's me talking to the students about the lesson, and then they take notes on those. So here's one right here that you guys can see. And I just make them really quick in my classroom. They are sometimes really awful and sometimes really good. It just depends upon how the technology is working for the day. The instruction is always top-notch. It's just, you know, some of the other stuff that goes awry. The other thing that we do in math class, or with other, like with what Dean was talking about with the, what is it called, Dean? I forgot now. The autocrats.
Autocrat.
Yeah, autocrat. Using autocrat is for math classes we use them for test reflection. So after every test, students will fill one of those out and then fill out a form, and then it'll be sent to the student. It'll be sent to a folder in my drive, and it'll be sent to the parent, which is a pretty sweet deal. And then the other thing with the Remind, I just wanted to show this to teachers as well. At open house, and I was starting to talk about Remind the first year that we used it, it was parents were a little concerned, like, well, what if I don't want my student receiving texts, or if I don't, you know, whatever the case may be, or if my student is not yet having a cell phone. There is a way to post those reminds on your web page, on your Google page, or on whatever page you're using. I just searched this, and it was pretty easy to follow along how to get it, but that's kind of a cool deal because then it will just say, like, hey, this is what's going on, and students can access them as long as they can access your site. So just kind of thinking, extending that idea from Mr. Dahl, which is a pretty cool deal. So I think Angie gets to go next, right?
All right, I'm up. So I am a little different situation. So parent communication is something that I'm continuing to work on. I see all students.
Angie, explain what is it you teach and why you're a different situation.
I teach STEM, and it's in our school structures it in a specialist role. So I see 615 kids spread out throughout the week in grades 3 through 6 for 50 minutes. So I see them once a week for 50 minutes. And going from classroom teacher to a specialist teacher has opened my eyes, and I'm learning a lot and trying to figure out, having kids and being a parent as well, you focus on the main classroom things, but also that there are specialists and the importance of integrating all that and how you communicate with parents to keep them in the loop with something that isn't a part of their students' daily academic experience. So I have several things going. One thing that we just worked on, that we just finished, is an augmented reality project where kids made manifesto videos, their manifesto of learning, what they agree or are able to do to be the best learner that they can be. And they made that video with a few different apps, and then they also created superhero versions of themselves. And then we linked the two so that when anyone walks our building and goes in the hallway and scans these superhero pictures, manifesto videos of all the kids in grades 3 through 6 pop up and can be shared. So it was a big communication piece during conferences that went well. So some of the apps I would like to just kind of quickly show you, just so you can see what it looks like. First one is called Chatterpix by Moose. It actually gives kids the chance to take a picture of something or themselves and then make it talk. And so students had a lot of fun taking pictures of, like, famous athletes and making them talk in their manifesto video. Another one we did, students had the choice to use Shadow Puppet or Puppet EDU, which lets you take a bunch of pictures and put it to music and voice and add special effects, and then it puts it all together in a video. We used iMovie. I have a class set of iPads, so several students did iMovies. And then another one we used was sock puppets. Students could create their manifesto video with sock puppets. So students had a choice. Third and fourth graders lean more towards Chatterpix and sock puppets for ease of use. And then we put it all together with this app. I call it Erasma, but I'm probably calling it something wrong. And we created auras, and it sounds super fancy, but it's really not. So what we did is, the steps are right here. We uploaded or saved their video on their device, and then once we had that video on there, then we took a picture of their superhero drawing, and then when we finished it up, you could actually just scan their superhero, and videos of them would pop up. So that's kind of the big thing that we've been working on and trying to share what we're doing outside the classroom.
Something that, two things actually, that I see, and I communicate with both of you on a regular basis, and still I sit here and watch this, and I've picked up 3 things that I think are cool. So definitely don't communicate with your colleagues and share the journey, because it's amazing the little things that are right next to us that can make any one lesson better, and also how everybody is empowering the learning of the student. You definitely all showed that. So one tip, from any tip that you would like to share, Megan.
Okay, so my tip this week, I've used this quite a bit in lesson planning, or wait, I'm sorry, hold on, am I screen sharing with you guys? Not yet, probably. Hold on just a second, sorry. So my my share is this thing called Tab Cloud. It's an extension, and I use this when I plan for lessons. We have a few teachers who plan or teach quite a bit of stuff in our middle school, since it's a bigger school. And so when I'm sitting in those planning lessons, I'm often creating the lessons we're often talking about those lessons. Well, when I am planning those things, I usually have a whole bunch of tabs open with the PowerPoint and the things that I need to teach that lesson that are up and loaded and ready to go. So Tab Cloud, it's an extension. What you do is you just click on it, and then what I can do is hit the plus button right here from a saved one, and it pulls everything up, and it's all set to go. So my prep time to get the websites up is very simple. So the Hennepin County Library, YouTube, and my website. I just saved these and put them in there, and it makes it so simple and so easy to use, and it has saved me lots of time in the morning when I've got a lot of kids asking questions and I just need to get all of the sites up that I'm using for the day or that I'm using for that class period. So it's called Tab Cloud, really easy to make. Once you get your tabs all up, you can pick which one it is, and then you're going to click to name it, and you can name it whatever, and then hit the save button after you sign in, and then here they all are. They're all saved. So then whenever I need to open up a new window, I just click on that little green plus window, and then it all pops up, as you just saw with when I opened up this last one. So that one's mine. Love it.
Angie.
All right, my tip, I'm going to kind of piggyback off of what you said, Dean. Don't be afraid to share. And share what you've tried, shared what worked, what didn't, because a lot of times those ideas or those conversations get taken and then can be tweaked or altered to fit with what you're doing. So for example, we were talking about augmented reality and using that app, and a 5th grade teacher who does a wax museum during Black History Month actually recreated her entire approach to it and used augmented reality with it. And so the kids were able to scan certain key aspects of their wax museum, and videos of their character popped out. And so it became kind of like those interactive art museums. All these community members and other kids were walking around with headphones and their iPads scanning different actual people, kids, being wax museum figures. And it just happened to be like, hey, you're talking about this, let's just talk about it. And then she totally took it all on her own with something that she teaches and is super passionate about. So don't be afraid to share, even if you think it's something small, it can turn into something big.
Well said, both of you. My tip is I was looking at, Megan, your website, and as getting ready to do a conference coming up here, and I know both of you are getting ready for ties. YouTube. YouTube is such an amazing tool to use for subplans and also repetitive lessons to share the same consistent message with the class, and also as you're putting the instruction up on the screen, you can walk around the room and help students. So using YouTube, and don't be afraid to use it to upload your videos, just what we're doing right now. So thank you, Megan. Thank you, Angie. And get a buddy and find those effective and efficient technology tools, because it makes the journey pretty amazing. T2T number 6 is over.